Okay, so this is very different from the many of the other presentations that are being given because this is not really a scientific study. It's more of policy discussion. It's actually in the engineering category. So I'm the director of the MS in Energy Management program at New York Institute of Technology. And so basically what we do is we study the energy field. So the title of my poster, Repurposing for Resiliency, Citing Distributed Energy Facilities. So there's a trend in architecture and also in engineering to do as much reuse of existing buildings as possible. Obviously has great energy savings benefits and also materials savings benefits. So there's many unused buildings which could possibly be used for energy facilities, and so that's what I explored in my poster. So this is the actual poster, but what I did is I took sections of it and simply made them into PowerPoint slides so they would be easier to see. So the power grid is how electricity gets delivered to our various homes and businesses, and so it stretches from coast to coast. And all along the way, there needs to be equipment that's feeding power into the grid, and there also needs to be equipment that, for example, transformers and substations that will change the voltage and distribute the energy to that particular area. So how I became interested in the topic is that there's a number of office buildings in our area that are completely unoccupied because during the COVID pandemic triggered a lot of working from home. And now that the pandemic is over, companies are finding that only about half of their workers are actually working in person. And so they have all these half-occupied buildings, half-occupied floor space. And so a company that used to have, let's say, 4 floors in an office building, the next time the lease comes up, they'll just negotiate for 2 floors, half the office space. So, obviously when this happens on a nationwide basis, where people only want half as much office space as they had before, then it has tremendous impact on commercial real estate. Now, these unoccupied office buildings are actually very good candidates for energy facilities because in general, they're already hooked up to things. They're already connected to, let's say, natural gas supplies, water supplies, the sewage system, electrical power. They already have parking, and just all sorts of features that you would be looking for in an energy facility. The unoccupied office building already has. And so I gave as an example this picture of an office building with parking. So the building in our area that got me interested in this. So back in 1992, they put up this office complex, 778,000 square feet of space. Had a heliport so they could land helicopters, daycare center, backup power supply, pond, athletic fields. So as recently as 2006, the site was sold for $204 million. And this year it's only worth $24 million. So it's lost 88% of its value in only 7 years. So they've been trying to convert these vacant office buildings into all sorts of things like apartments, hotels, laboratories, warehouses, etc. But they do run into problems that the office buildings are constructed in a completely different way. For example, the way the plumbing is done, the way the electrical is run, the way where the windows are located. If you think about it, the floor of an office building has a great big amount of space, and the only windows are out at the edge. And that's not really what people are looking for in apartments. So they have managed to convert quite a few of the office buildings into apartments and hotels and so on. But I really think they should be used for energy facilities. So for example, this figure 2 shows a rooftop solar energy system. Lots and lots of these office buildings have flat roofs, and you could put up solar panels. And right now we need tremendous increases in the grid. So California needs a 200% increase by 2040. Southwest places like Arizona and Nevada, they have to increase their capacity 900% because tremendous amounts of population growth. So the office buildings generally have very flexible floor plans. They sort of build them like a shell, and then they can move walls and things around as they want. So in this example, or rather in this photo, this is a picture of microturbines, which are very small power turbines, generally about 30 kilowatts each. And so as you can see, they're relatively compact, where you could easily imagine fitting these into office buildings and a number of other pieces of equipment just like them. And fortunately, most office buildings have a relatively high floor to ceiling height. They have loading docks. They have the structural capacity to be able to support things like this. So in order for this to happen, there really needs to be an exchange of information, because the people in the power industry are not really accustomed to communicating with the people in the office building industry and commercial real estate. So there really needs to be major study of this at the federal level to see how many of these buildings are available and where they are. And there should really be partnerships established to do this. And then, of course, for each state, they should be developing databases of underutilized structures and matching them up with power grid expansion requirements. And then also at the community level, individual towns and cities should be looking out for themselves. They're always trying to encourage economic development. This is a pretty favorable development. When you collect property taxes, these energy facilities have a fairly high tax property value. And in some ways, they don't really burden the local district as much. It's not like a big apartment complex that could be sending many children to school and therefore increasing the school taxes, or putting a lot of cars on the road or things like that. So, once they're set up, it still looks like an office building on the outside, but then it's an energy facility on the inside. And there's also a great need for energy storage batteries, as in this photo, and that's another thing that's just the right size to fit inside of vacant office buildings. So there's really a lot of opportunities here. Okay, so this is my contact information. You could always go to the New York Institute of Technology website and and search for me. That's probably the easiest way to find me. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen.